Ahava and blessings. Welcome to this video. And I'm so happy to be here with all of you in this co-creative communication. And I will be talking about Mercury Retrograde and the Mercury Retrograde that we are currently in. And if you're watching this video a little bit later, when we're out of the Mercury Retrograde, I think that you will find some of the transmissions very interesting that you can apply to your life. So I am actually recording this on the 11th, and we did go into Mercury Retrograde on the 9th. I wanted to record this a lot earlier, but I was finishing the recording of my album, and which was very powerful, and we did it right in the first day of the Mercury Retrograde. It was the last day of our recording, and at the same time, I hosted yesterday an online retreat on the 7 churches. The teachings of the chakra system aligned to the churches and revelations to open up the chambers of light, which are the chakras, known as chakras in the Hindu tradition. So I will be talking about Mercury Retrograde a little bit and how we can navigate Mercury Retrograde on a very practical level and also on a mystical and esoteric level. A lot of times when we go into the Mercury Retrograde, there's so much myth about this portal, right? It's almost seen as something bad, or we start to blame things on Mercury Retrograde when they go wrong. And it's true that Mercury Retrograde does affect technology. Okay, we will see that it does affect technology just because it's a very, very strong energy. And remember that Mercury is that energy that allows energy to flow from one system to another, right? From one person to another, from one teaching to another. Mercury helps us connect the dots. And when that flow, it's usually very fast energy, isn't as fast as it usually is, things will happen to technology, right? Just by nature of it. So what happens on a Mercury retrograde is that we go inward. The energy stops. It's almost as if the planet is backwards and going backwards, right? And so everything slows down. Information slows down. There's a big space, right? There's like this big space that we are given to understand the messages. And what happens usually when we're given this space, we're so used to information, processing information and thinking and making mental lists in our mind, right? So when we're given this space, we go crazy. We go into the monkey mind, and because we're not used to so much space, right? Instead of emptying ourselves, emptying our minds, emptying and purifying our emotions, we go into this powerful mental chatter and clutter as well. But there's a very beautiful opportunity always in the Mercury retrograde to go into that space of emptiness, release the mental chatter, right? The monkey mind, and allow the messages that want to come into our space to come in. There's a time of revelation. And I always see Mercury retrograde as a powerful moment of revelation. So in this particular Mercury retrograde that I will be talking about, and again, you can use a lot of the information, the transmissions I'm giving just for all Mercury retrogrades, right? We start on September the 9th, we finish on October the 2nd. So a big part of the month of September is retrograde, right? And it did start before the full moon in Pisces, which was just absolutely delicious yesterday. I love the Pisces energy as it is a moment to dissolve into nothingness and to oneness. So this Mercury retrograde starts in Libra, right, in the sign of Libra. And then on the 23rd, it goes back into Virgo. On the 22nd, that's when Mercury aligns with the sun. And we usually find this a very, very powerful moment for clarity. And when Mercury retrograde, Mercury aligns with the sun on the 22nd within a retrograde, it's the peak moment. And it's also a very powerful moment to awaken the throat chakra. One of the teachings that we looked at in the Mary, Math, and Yeshua in the 7 churches of light, or the 7 chambers of light, is that this church, right, this chakra, they call it churches, connects to different dimensions. And when we allow this chakra to be open, there's a very important chakra in the Christ lineage and the teachings of the Desert Rose. When this chakra is opened, our arc line, which is there, awakens and is ignited. And the part of the soul that isn't totally embodied in the incarnational experience comes into the body. And so what happens is that our true voice is expressed. The soul can actually move through the throat chakra to express the sound of the soul, right? And then we have our inner ear that awakens, and that inner ear can hear the sounds of the cosmos, the sounds of manifestation, the sounds of the light beings, to understand really the messages that are being poured in, right? The messages that want to be revealed to us. And so that inner ear needs some silence, needs some training. We need to go inward, right? And so it's very powerful when we awaken this chakra, because our mission, this is the Church of Saradis, right? And our mission is given to us. We receive a divine mission. And so all of this awakening in the throat chakra is about communication. And we tend to think that communication is only when we communicate with people, with our loved ones, but we're communicating with everything. I'm communicating with you right now. I'm communicating with the camera that's recording me. I'm communicating with everything in my temple space, because I have set up this temple space to speak to you. So the candles mean something to me. My shruti means something to me, right? Everything has a meaning. Everything is infused with intention. And this is what communication is, right? And so as we go, we navigate into the Mercury retrograde in the sign of Libra. Libra is about communication. It is about harmony, right? And it's about relationships. So we are given this beautiful space to be emptied, to listen, and to see what is happening right now in our lives, right? What is happening in our relationships? How are we listening to people? How are we communicating with the people around us? What are the relationships that we are in? And that when we make space for them, seem that like they need to be dissolved, they need to be liberated. Or what are the new relationships that we are creating, and how are we creating these? What are the words that we are using to communicate? Are they infused with love? Are they infused with intention? Or are they infused with judgment and pain and suffering, right? And so another thing that we can find in this, as Mercury goes in retrograde into Libra, is harmony. And harmony is something very powerful in our lives, because harmony is connected to the heart chakra. In Kabbalah, in the Tree of Life, Tiferet, the heart chakra is called Tiferet, and it's translated as harmony and as beauty, right? So we can start to make space into our lives and understand what is trying to be balanced, and what we are called to balance, and what we are called to bring into harmony in our lives. And of course, we know that Libra is connected to the Venus energy, so it is about beauty, but it's not just the physical beauty, right? Physical beauty that attracts us. It's about a very powerful connection to beauty, and that beauty is spiritual beauty, right? How we live our lives, how we consecrate everything that is around us, how we put beautiful meaning into our relationships, into our communication, into our words, into our prayer, into who we are. So all of this is that opportunity that Mercury is giving us, creating this beautiful space of emptiness so that we can hear these messages. And then when Mercury retrogrades into Virgo on the 23rd, it's all about how are we taking care of our bodies. So our bodies will be giving us a lot of messages, right? And in a Mercury retrograde, it's very important to be in the body. And when we are in a Mercury retrograde, we need to go out in nature. We need to do exercise, yoga, dancing, moving the body, cleaning the house, definitely. All of this, because we tend to go into the mind, right? That part of Mercury that is so quick just wants us to go into the mind. So it's very important to go into the body. And when the Mercury retrograde goes into Virgo on the 23rd, we will see themes as the body. Am I taking care of myself? Am I resting? What is the body feeling, right? The purification, and also themes of purification, as Virgo is the Yod in the Aramaic technology, the Aramaic alphabet. Yod is the letter that created Virgo. It is about purification. It's about purifying our sexual energy. So we're going to be feeling a lot of power as of the 23rd in that last few days, well, not last few days, a lot of few days, those 9-10 days of the Mercury retrograde, a lot of sexual energy moving within us, a lot of sexual energy and space to understand what this sexual energy means. How am I channeling it? How am I purifying myself? And this is, we're actually being given this space to really understand how we create, right? Are we creating with love and virginity, which Virgo is that virginal pure energy, or are we creating with something that isn't aligned with our soul and with ourself anymore? And so this is that Virgo, that Mercury retrograde going into Virgo. And like I said, when we go into the peak on the 22nd, we always get a very powerful activation in our throat chakra. And we get a lot of the energy of the sun coming into the throat chakra. And it is an opportunity to purify as well and to really bring in the power of the word, right? Understand what the power of the word is if we have done our emptying, our going into the inner cave, because this is all happening in the solar portal of Virgo. So as this activation happens in our throat chakra, the sun, the light of the sun is coming in to purify. And so when we open up the throat chakra, this is really when our manifestation expands. The gift that Yeshua gives to us in the 7 churches, when we open up the church of the throat chakra, is a white robe, right? He gives us a white robe. And that white robe, we can see that the Essenes wear it. We can see many religious, spiritual traditions wear that color white, because white is the color of expansion. White is the color of purity as well, and pure expansion. So when we open up this throat chakra, we have the power to expand all that we want to manifest and all that we are, and our soul coming in through the body, expressing herself and himself. Well, it is a she, right? It's connected to the divine feminine presence when she is activated, right? And so there is the gift. And this expansion helps us manifest and bring our creations into this world very aligned with the arc line, with the mazad, with the pure soul contract, right? That's here, that soul contract that we have, that we are containing. And so on the 22nd, we have this opportunity to just allow the sun to open up and infuse the power of our word with the Shekhinah, with the Holy Spirit, with the sacred dove, with the divine feminine presence, which gives meaning and fire into our word. And that meaning and fire is the word that creates, not the word that is empty, the word that is dead, that has nothing inside of it. It's the word that creates, the word that has power, right? And so this is what happens. And so when we go into this Mercury retrograde, a few things that you can always remember is that Mercury is about going within. A Mercury retrograde, going within, and understanding that the whole slowing down of the planet is a very fast planet. The whole slowing down is an opportunity to be able to listen to the messages. And remember to listen to the messages not just through the mind. Don't understand them through the mind. Feel them in your body, right? Feel them in your heart. Yesterday I had to make a decision in the morning, and I wanted to make this decision before Mercury retrograde started. It was really funny. And I kept saying, I'm going to make the decision before it starts, and it wasn't happening. I was just putting it off. No, I'll feel it. And then I realized that I was really in my mind, and I kept, making my mental list of yes, no, pros, cons. And then what I did is I just released the mind, and I said, come into my body. And what am I feeling with this decision? What am I feeling if I say yes, if I say no? And my body told me. And after I had made the decision, everything was just, so much weight came off of my body. I felt so aligned. So go into the body, trust the body, go into the heart space, leave the mind a little bit. Not always, we do need the mind, right? But it's about going into that inner cave, going inside. And as we are in the solar portal of Virgo, there's going to be a lot of healing happening, right? A lot of healing happening. And because Virgo is about healing, it is about purification, it is about emptying. So we have lots of energies telling us to be emptied, to be open. Remember that Yeshua said, Ephata, right? He said Ephata when he healed people, which actually means be open, be emptied. So it is a moment of healing. It is a moment of healing relationships, of understanding of, remember that a lot of times we tend to see how a relationship is satisfying ourselves, me, how a relationship is affecting me. This is the moment when we go into Libra to see, how am I affecting relationships? How are my actions and my communications affecting my relationships and everything that I am relating with? It's not just about how certain things affect me and certain experiences, but how am I affecting those? Because this is what a relationship is. A relationship is two sides. It's a co-creation, right? So now it's time to look at how, in this Mercury retrograde, how am I creating within that relationship, right? How am I affecting the person, the experience, the thing, the object, right? And so I just want to read something very, very beautiful. It's a channeling here from my new book, Mary Magdalene and the Teachings of the Desert Rose. And it is a channeling that I received from Mary Magdalene. It's just a short little paragraph that I would like to read. It says, breath is the shortest path to the Mother Father. You are on one end, and Allah, which is the Divine Mother Father, is on the other end. With each breath that you take, you are communicating with the heavenly source. The more time you pause throughout the day to remember this, the more conversations you will have with the light, and the more you will know your soul and the great mystery of creation. Secrets are revealed to you in these sacred spaces. So she talks about this breath, how we are in one end of the breath, Allah is on the other end of the breath, and there's a sacred partnership, there's a sacred relationship, right? And so when we take time to pause and be in this sacred relationship, we start to understand everything that is around us. And then the mysteries are revealed through us, right? And this is definitely Mercury retrograde. I see Mercury retrograde as a training to be able to be in this space, to be able to be in this space of listening, right? Not just communicating and talking, but listening. And listening is to receive, remember? And so we are in this space. And then she says, the more time you pause throughout the day to remember this, because we are communicating with the heavenly source with each breath, the more conversations we will have with the light, and the more we will know our soul and the great mystery of creation, right? So this is a training. It's a training that we are given. If we look at this as the school of life, we are undergoing, again, the mystery school of Mercury retrograde, right? We want to receive the mystery. We want to see what is being revealed through us. And this could be very practical information about our life that can really change our life. It could be something so simple, but that could really change the direction of our journey and the direction of the soul, right? And so the more time we create these spaces that we can sit and breathe and be in relationship with the breath and communication with the heavenly source, we actually are given the opportunity to listen to everything that is around us, right? To receive the messages and to receive the mystery that is revealed through us. So I hope that this Mercury retrograde really is magical for all of you. And I just want to do a reading through my Nun Codes Oracle cards. And we did an upgrade on the cards, made them a little bit bigger for those who still want to purchase them. And we upgraded the manual as well. You can get this on my website. And I talk about the Nun Codes in my new book as well, Mary Magdalene and the Teachings of the Desert Rose. So let us see what we will choose here. Okay. Oh, very beautiful. So the first card that we have is code 6, which is Nidra. Nidra. And Nidra means committing to love. Okay, so when we commit to love, we're not just talking about committing to the act of being in love and feeling love, but what does love mean, right? In Aramaic, we have different expressions of love. One is love in service, one love in actual love, unconditional love. So committing to love, the path of love, and I see this as committing to the way of love, right? Living a life of commitment, of purification, of good choices, of alignment, of a heart-centered journey. So there's a beautiful message. And you can use these messages for this week and for the Mercury retrograde. The light of the Shem. Wow, here's a powerful card. Moses, Medium, and Aaron. This trinity of very powerful prophets and very powerful, prophets, teachers, masters that connected with the Holy Spirit. So we have Moses that received the fire of the Holy Spirit, the bush, the flame. We have Medium that really brought down the Holy Spirit, that powerful breath of the Holy Spirit. And then we have Aaron as a high priest, communicating the messages of the Holy Spirit, them working together. So the light of the Shem is the light of your word, the power of your word, the power of our word, right? And the power of our word through purification, definitely, through mindfulness and awareness of what we are saying and how we say it, but also when we open up the throat chakra, which this is what we're doing in the Mercury retrograde, and on the 22nd, when the Sun and the Mercury align, there's a very powerful activation to bring in intention to our word, to allow the soul, when we purify, because, sexual energy is purified here, is what's purified here is purified here, right? And so when we're really creating with the essence of love, which is really connected to the first card. So the messages we are receiving are very beautiful today. So the light of the Shem is the word, right? It's the light that you contain in your word. The more light of creation that has no duality, the more light that you contain in your word, the more powerful the manifestation, right? And expansion, we are giving that white robe from Yeshua. Kadosh, Kadosh, Kaddish in Aramaic, holiness. What is holy? We use sacred and we use holy, but they're really two different words. They're two different activations. They're two different frequencies. Sacred is when we make everything sacred, when we give an intention to all, right? And then the sacred feminine, we make the feminine energy the sacred masculine. We make the masculine energy sacred, right? We're creating the sacred, right? And that involves ahava, that involves love in action, love in service, to create a sacred reality, a consecrated life. And holy is when that life becomes sacred and it is anchored. It is now holy. It is blessed. It is baptized energetically and it is anchored on the earth. Holiness, right? Holiness. It is a beautiful message. So let us live in a consecrated life. Let us take time to go into the inner cave, right? Connect with Mercury, listen to the messages and create sacred space every day. Maybe you want to create sacred space, maybe smudge a little bit, maybe go outside and do a little bit of ritual. Do something every day that reminds you of the sacred. Your temple space may be in your home. I'm Cancerian, so of course it's my home. Your temple space may be outside in nature, but make something an act, a sacred act every day, and then it becomes holy, right? Sanctified. And so these are beautiful messages for our Mercury retrograde, and you can even apply them this week. And again, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for this co-creation, because I know that we are co-creating together. As you listen, I can feel your energy. And I hope that these transmissions, this guidance has brought something to you. Thank you so much. Ahava.